All right, so this is the Mamiya C330. This is our twin lens reflex. Start off, twin lens. There are two of them. This is the viewing lens. This is the lens that will actually take your picture. So there is some discrepancy in what these two see. On the lens is where you control both your aperture and your shutter speed. So to pop up the viewfinder, you just lift this up and you can see in. One thing you might notice is the image is going to be reversed horizontally. It's flipped, so it'll take a while to get used to composing with that in mind. This loop helps with focusing. I just popped it up. That's how you do that. You focus by adjusting the bellows of the camera, which you can change here. The frame counter is here. It's currently set to 0. I'm on multi-mode just so I can show you some things while there's no film loaded. Single is what you'll want to shoot on most of the time. And this is your film advance. This button is how you will release the shutter, which you see I can't do right now. To load film into this camera, I've just put it lens side down with the lens cap on. And I'm going to press to the right, and then you should have heard that pop, and then I can open up the back. You'll probably find the spool on the bottom, and you'll want to flip it to the top because this is going to be your take-up spool, and this is where you'll put your new film. To release the bottom spool, you'll need to pull this out and put it up here by releasing this. I'll do that off camera because it's a definitive two-handed job, but that's how you'll do it. All right, so off camera, I moved that spool to the top. I then put my film in. I dragged this backing paper, because it is the backing paper, it's not the film yet. I shoved the slot of the backing paper into one of the slots in this take-up spool, and then I used the film advance, you can see I'm doing it now, but not a lot, to get to the point where this start lines up with this red dot. Sometimes there'll be the word start, sometimes there will be arrows. So then you're ready to shoot. I'm gonna close, and you should hear that solid click, the back of this camera, and then I'm going to advance the film advance lever. This would have been easier to do if I still had this on a tripod. And then it'll stop when you get to the first frame. That's it. All right, so to use one of these light meters, you point this at whatever your subject is. You should notice this red dial moves depending on where you point it. So if you point it at a shadow, it should go lower, a highlight, it should go higher. Once you've gotten a reading, you line up the green arrow with the red dial, and then you have all of these different equivalent exposures. So for example, f11 would work with 1/60th of a second. It's also important to double check that your ISO is set to whatever your film speed is. I'm shooting with ISO 400, so that should be good. A lot of students are nervous the first few times they use one of the Sekonic light meters, so if you want to use a light meter app, just to double check that you're in the ballpark, that works. I'm using Lumu here, so you can see if I set it to 1/60th of a second, it tells me what aperture works with that shutter speed and ISO. This could be different from the light meter reading by as much as 2 stops because, well, there are a lot of reasons why, but this could just make sure that your readings are close. This is a fun camera to work with.